Our next speaker is someone I deeply respect. Dr. Rebecca Block is a neuroaffirming executive function coach who helps professionals whose brains are wired differently hit their goals without panic, people pleasing, or procrastination. She offers a 7-week live virtual experience that helps spicy brains get stuff done together. She spoke on stage at the Social Connection Summit in 2025. And what I really appreciate most about her work is how practical and permission giving it is. She does not push productivity for productivity's sake. She helps you build systems that actually fit your wiring. And today, she's talking about fresh starts, dropping the norms that don't work for you so you can make room for what does. And my promise to you, our promise to you is that you'll leave with one simple step. Identify a structure that is no longer working and reallocate that time towards experimenting with something that actually supports you better. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Rebecca Block.
Totally. I feel like I need to just bring you around with me anytime I go to other networking events and just be like, he's going to give my intro for me. Thank you. So thanks so much for that. Welcome. Yes, I'm here to talk about fresh starts because at this point in February, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I ran into a common situation. I, like most of the people around me, would set a New Year's resolution at the beginning of the year. That New Year's resolution was supposed to give me focus and motivation, and it was going to help me drive towards what my goals were for the year. And round about February is when the shame would start to kick in. Because whatever it is that I had resolved to do, I would not have been doing the way that I thought I was going to be doing it. I would have tried to double down or get myself to do it differently. It would be clear to me that it was not really working, and then I would just try to like bury it and cover it up. And that never worked really well. So several years ago, I finally decided to interrogate this, right? I had already been working with a variety of people whose brains work differently, my own included. Whenever I was working with them, what would regularly come up as a question was, well, why are you doing that thing? Well, I don't know. It's because it's what people do. Does it work for you? No. I was like, wait a second, I'm doing the same thing with my New Year's resolutions. Why am I doing that thing? Because everybody around me is doing it. It's a norm that I've just absorbed and tried to replicate. And when I paused to actually assess what's the function of a New Year's resolution supposed to be for me, not the piece that is, it's the new year, and so we all make resolutions, not that part, but the part that actually mattered to me, that caused me to keep doing it. And I realized that for me, the function of a New Year's resolution was supposed to be that it would give me a touch point, that throughout the year, I would have a focal point that I could return to. This is what's important this year. This is what matters this year. And resolutions weren't doing that for me. Um, I started experimenting. What would do that for me? And for me, what I ended up discovering worked well was to set a theme. And that is different for me than an intention. So I know that the other thing that has become popular now is like set your intention for the year. For me, the slight distinction of theme and intention, it's not because I'm trying to get everybody to do a theme, by the way, but it's the discovery process that matters. The distinction around theme was that I was trying to create, because I wanted a touch point, I was trying to create something that would allow me to continue to see and reframe my experiences throughout the year in relation to that, because stuff happens, right? The year changes. What you think is going to matter in January is often not what still actually matters to you in December. And so a theme gave me the broadness to do that. Last year, for instance, my theme was equanimity. I really wanted to see what it meant to lean into being unshakable, even when everything around me was moving. And last year very much felt like that at both the global, national, and personal scale. And having that theme allowed me to keep turning back to it every time that I felt deeply lacking in equanimity. It wasn't a judgment or a shame anymore. It was a reminder, hey, this is my theme. Let me look at what it might look like to lean back into this theme right now. Right now, when I'm feeling really shaken, when I'm feeling really off base and not centered, what would it look like to invite equanimity? What might I do right now, today, this week, that would invite more equanimity in? And that was incredibly valuable for me. So I wanted to create a simple process. Um, Thanks, I appreciate that. That would make it easy for you to kind of consider a fresh start, right? So it may be that it actually, the New Year's resolution thing resonates with you, and you're like, yes, I would like to revisit my New Year's resolution. Or it may be a completely different norm that has nothing to do with resolutions at all. This is intended to deliberately be neutral. So what that link will take you to is a Google Doc that you can make a copy of, right? So it will just give you viewer rights on the initial one, but can I screen share, Coach Lee? Let's see. Okay, can everybody see that? Yes, okay. So really simple, in case you're not a Google Doc user, all you do to make a copy, you just go up here to File, and then you hit Make a Copy. And then you will have your very own copy of this that you can fill out. And it's very, very simple. All you're going to do is just go to the Reflect section, and there's a few questions to help you identify where you might want a fresh start. You can capture your mood right now if you want to, if that will help you later. I've already got the date in there for you. But it can give you just the space to think about, what's something I'm doing right now that doesn't work the way that I want it to? What happens when I do it, right? That gap for me between what I thought the resolution was going to do versus what it actually did. And then that pause to like, okay, so what's the intended purpose of the thing? If it's not doing what I think it should do, what is it that I'm hoping it's going to do, right? For me, it was that create a touch point for me to continually return to reframe my experiences throughout the year. And then pause and learn a little bit from something that's going well. It's very hard for us to ever learn if all we're doing is dodging what's not working. It's like the constant thing of don't think of an elephant, right? It's like, what are you now thinking of constantly? The elephant that you're avoiding, right? So think of something that does work well for you. What's something that you do, could be in a completely different area, that works well for you? It achieves its intended purpose. How did you discover that thing? And with that little bit of reflection, you can then give yourself some space to do a small bit of brainstorming, right? So just brainstorm 3 different ideas that you could experiment with. And I'm using the word experiment with rather than try deliberately, because experiment means you're taking a win or learn attitude, right? Either you try something and it works. Themes work for me right now. At some point they might stop working and then I'll have to experiment again, right? So sometimes it's win. Yep, that worked. Sometimes it's learn, not lose, right? What did I learn from that? That also did not achieve what I thought it would achieve. Okay, what can I experiment with now? Right? It helps us keep it lighter for our differently wired brains instead of feeding back into those shame and blame cycles that are really well grooved for us often from constantly feeling like we're out of the norm. So when you come up with 3 ideas to experiment with, then you're going to switch to just, how can I make it concrete, right? So this is meant to be a deliberately simple to do or to schedule list, to just help you say, okay, I'm going to pick one of these ideas, and what steps could I take that would allow me to concretely determine quickly, does that work the way that I think it would work for me? Instead of spending a bunch of time reflecting, debating, humming and hawing and hovering, to help you get that information. And if it doesn't, you can just cycle back, use the same thing, do it again. So that is my short and sweet practical fresh start for right now. I'm going to stop sharing so that people don't have too much crowding your screen.
Applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you.